Mick Schumacher has had a rollercoaster season, and rest assured that his team isn't liking what they are seeing so far from the young German. The talks about his potential replacement are now stronger than ever, and it seems like Mick will have one more race in Mexico to prove himself prior to the team making a decision on his future. Although many think that he is a weak link in the team, or that his place isn't in F1, we're here to assure you the contrary. So don't go anywhere if you want to learn why Schumacher's place is exactly in F1. Mick has debuted for Haas in 2021, and the team hasn't developed the car from the 2020 season due to the fact that they were saving money for the 2022 regulations. He and Mazepin were both rookies, and Mick was able to outperform Mazepin by quite a lot when it came to both race days and qualifying sessions. On some occasions, the difference was even bigger than 3 seconds in the qualifying sessions, which could only mean two things. Either Mick is a wonder kid doing wonders in an underperforming car, or Mazepin is just too bad and has no idea how to drive an F1 car. It seems like the latter was the right answer to this question, and although Mick was able to drive the car much better than his teammate, we weren't seeing the next Verstappen or Vettel. One strong indicator of that is the fact that Mick went pointless in the 2021 season. But even since the season started, Günther Steiner, the principal of Haas, said that the only goal that the team has, and both of its drivers should have, is to gain experience and knowledge on how to drive the car for the 2022 season. At the beginning of the 2022 season, Mick struggled to keep up with the pace of the returnee Kevin Magnussen. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Haas had no choice but to sack Nikita Mazepin and his father, who was one of the team's main sponsors and was closely affiliated with Putin. At such short notice, Haas had to find a replacement, and they did find it in Magnussen. In the first race in Bahrain, Magnussen finished 5th, while Schumacher was yet again outside of the points. The fact that the rookie in Alfa Romeo, Zhou, scored points in his first race in F1, and Schumacher wasn't able to do so for a full season, just put more pressure on his shoulders. And when you put things under pressure, two things can happen. The driver can either grow and be a much better version of himself, or he can break under pressure. From the second race in Jeddah and the race in Monaco, we've seen that Mick has broken under pressure, as the crashes he has caused cost the team more than $1 million in replacement each. Now, if you've been watching the video up until this point, you're probably going to say, yeah, this is enough. Sack Schumacher. Look at what he's done for the team. But you're missing another crucial point, and that is Magnussen's performance. After the first race in Bahrain, where Magnussen finished P5, the Dane managed to finish P9 in Jeddah and secure 2 more points for the team. This is the race that Schumacher wasn't able to attend due to the crash he suffered on Saturday, so he was outside of points contention. During the sprint race in Imola, Magnussen was able to grab 1 point by finishing P8 and 2 points by finishing P9 on Sunday. Again, a productive weekend for the Dane, while Schumacher was nowhere to be found. But then we've seen bad luck strike Ferrari and their affiliated teams, as the reliability issues have started to show their face on the surface. During the Baku GP, 4 out of 6 Ferrari-powered cars didn't finish the race, including Magnussen. Previously, at the Barcelona GP, Magnussen was involved in a crash with Hamilton, so he wasn't able to finish the race. After Barcelona, in Monaco, Magnussen and Schumacher both didn't finish the race, with Schumacher causing the massive crash at lap 27. Schumacher's lack of points wasn't purely due to his lack of performance, as we've seen that Haas has been severely hit with reliability issues. From after the Baku GP, more precisely, from the Canadian GP onwards, we've seen a different version of Mick. He was running in the points for the majority of the race up until reliability issues decided that this wouldn't be the weekend where Mick earned his first career points. He was successfully defending against Zhou, but at lap 20, the German had to retire his car due to a mechanical failure. What's even more impressive is that Mick was very close to his teammate throughout the whole weekend, as both of them entered Q3 and finished P5 and P6 on Sunday, with the Dane having a little edge over the German. The following weekends were the places where Mick found his groove, as he was able to finish P8 and P6 in Silverstone and Austria. It would have been more points in Austria Had the team understood that Mick was the faster driver and let him pass Magnussen during the sprint race. Nevertheless, the defensive skills that Mick showed against Hamilton and the overtake he made on the 7-time world champion on Sunday showed what kind of a driver Mick really is, and that he is far away from not being capable of driving the Haas car. The Austrian GP was the latest event where Mick scored points, while his teammate managed to do so in Austin by finishing P8. But let's dive deep into the period that's in between these races and see whether Mick's lack of points was due to his inability to drive the car or the fact that Haas just isn't what it was in the first couple of races of the 2022 season. In France, Mick wasn't impressive at all, and the fact that he made contact with Zhou while trying to overtake really ruined his race. This was also the race where his teammate Magnussen took a new engine, but the Dane wasn't able to capitalize on it very smoothly. At the Hungarian GP, Schumacher started lower than his teammate, but was able to beat him and finish ahead of him and Ricciardo in P14. And this was the race where the team brought upgrades for Magnussen only, as they didn't have enough spare parts for Schumacher. In the Belgian Grand Prix, Schumacher outqualified his teammate Magnussen and advanced to Q2, while the Dane finished P18. Still, on Sunday, Magnussen finished P16 ahead of Schumacher, who finished P17. The second race of the triple header, Zandvoort, saw Schumacher enter Q3 and qualify P8, while his teammate finished P18 and exited Q1. Although Mick missed on points finishes yet again, he finished P13 ahead of his teammate, who was P15. Imola was a disastrous race in terms of qualifying pace, as both Haas drivers finished P19 and P20. Still, Schumacher was able to beat his teammate and finish P12, while Magnussen finished last, or P16. Magnussen was able to outqualify Schumacher in Singapore by entering Q3 and finishing P9, while Schumacher finished P13. Even so, they finished so close together, with the Dane finishing P12 and Schumacher finishing P13. At the Suzuka GP, Schumacher was able to outqualify his teammate and enter Q2, while Magnussen finished P18. During the race, Schumacher lost his groove and finished P17, while Magnussen was ahead at P14. 2 points come from our comparisons that we just analyzed. The first one is, prior to the Austin GP, both of these drivers were performing at the same level. At some times, Schumacher was even much better than his teammate Magnussen, as was the case in Zandvoort or in Spa. At other times, they were so close, but because they were outside of the points, finishing P12 or P13 or P14 doesn't really matter as long as you are not well above P10. The second point is, the car is the issue. We're seeing that Magnussen has barely scored points, and it was done at the last race in Austin after a huge pause from the Austrian GP. So many are jumping towards Mick, saying that he has no experience or knowledge of how to drive the car and is being outperformed by Magnussen. But people are quickly forgetting the fact that Magnussen was driving for Haas from 2017 to the end of the 2020 season, when the team decided to go with a brand new starting lineup. Therefore, our verdict is that Schumacher deserves the spot in Haas and does not need to be replaced. We've seen a massive drop in the performance of the car from Austria onwards, and the fact that every Ferrari-affiliated car has struggled with DNF issues says enough about where the team should put their heads. Schumacher will likely be much better from the following season onwards, and the fact that he's so young and has so much pressure on his shoulders to perform isn't going to help his case. Does he have aspects he needs to improve? Most definitely. Gene Haas, the owner of the team, said that Schumacher is costing them way too much money with his crashes, and that is definitely something that needs to change. If you're able to finish P14, that is much better than crashing the car on DNF due to a massive accident. What are your thoughts on Mick Schumacher? Do you think that he deserves a spot in Haas from 2023 onwards? Let us know in the comments below.